today, yeah, the location of this is different because I've gone back to the old place just to kind of like visit friends and family and, you know, all sorts of things like that. So, yeah, I'm here and there's a synthesizer here which I want to cover without taking it back the best I can. So I'm kind of, yeah, the room's still there, it's messy and all that, as you can see probably from behind me. If not, you know. If I don't finish the video here, I'll just have to take it with me and then just bring it back next time, but it's just massive. It's a Yamaha SY22 synthesizer. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to end up taking it anyway because I need a sample from it. So, anyway, I'll do whatever I can over here. Back over here at home, and yeah, there was absolutely no chance at all after recording that initial intro for me to continue filming that video. If you want to know about that weekend, I've written it in the blog post all about it, including like touching on about this. I'll link it in the description below. I did a video about the Yamaha SY22, yeah, as you can see here. Now this beautiful machine, yeah, is a vector based one. Now this SY22, Yamaha SY22 is also vector based, though both in different ways. SY22 is from 1990, yeah? This one is from 1992. The vector on this works differently to the vector, a little bit. I mean, the principle's the same, but I'll demonstrate the difference. Now with this vector, right? Let me explain a little bit. I already did in the last video, so I'll just touch up on it again. Now, with each joystick point, let's call it A, B, C, and D on that one, PSS51. A, you assign, let's say, synth lead, right? B, you assign something like strings. Now, each of these points, if you keep the joystick in the center, you press a key, all these will play simultaneously, creating another sound, like a mixture of these. So you're actually assigning the elements, the 4 points on the joystick, yourself, using the voices that are in the bank, right? And you can, with the joystick, you can adjust the which of the elements is louder or quieter depending on how you position the joystick, right? You could see here the joystick, the 4 different points, A, B, C, and D. You don't assign different voices on the different vector points. Instead, each of the voices, each patch on this is made up of 4 different elements. It's made up of 4 elements, right? So if you press that, it's already like a big, you know, amazing sound. The sounds are beautiful on this. They sound very cinematic, and yeah, I love them. So each sound consists of 4 elements. Now, you can actually see each of the sounds, how each is constructed. So each element, and you can adjust which of the elements is louder, and you can just make different adjustments to the sound from it. You can even like set it to detune, so you can change this, so this detunes each of the, you know, to create a sort of effect, you know, a different effect.
If you put the vector play on the detune, it sort of detunes the so you can get like a honky-tonk sort of sound from this.
So yeah, you've got all that going on with this. Now this, unlike the PSS51, which is sample-based, right? As some of you confirmed in the last video, in the comments on the last video, that it is indeed sample-based. This is not only sample-based, but also this is an FM synthesizer as well. The sounds are actually, a lot of them from the DX range. So you will hear DX7 sounds on this. So there is, I'm gonna put this down. So I'm gonna be really sore in the morning. My shoulder, right? This was my first ever experience with a synthesizer, like a proper synthesizer, and I was just so excited about it because everything, all the sounds and the patches and everything are nostalgic to me, like a lot. At that time, I'd already created like 20 to 30 mods on Soundtracker Pro 2 on the Commodore Amiga, right? And of course, when he brought this along, sample died. Sample died. I got my Technosound Turbo cartridge out and I connected this up and I sampled so many of the patches here. Obviously not all of them, but so many of them. And to this day, I still have them in my collection and I still use them in tracks. I mean, you'll recognize a lot of the tracks, a lot of the sounds on this in my tracks, in my past tracks and also on some of the recent tracks. But what I want to do is I want to actually resample it on the Polyend tracker and then transfer him onto the Amiga. He brought it along, and this is my first, not only my first experience with the synthesizer, but also my first experience with MIDI on the Amiga as well. And that, I actually, yeah, it's like really fond memories of that and creating the first time ever touching a key and seeing it appear on this and seeing it appear on Soundtracker was just like magic to me. I loved it. I loved it so much, and it just brought back all these, you know, just thinking about that just brought back all these exciting moments that I had with this. He left it in my room and he didn't take it back. I'm surprised. I was just thinking to myself, doesn't this guy just need this or not? But since then, it's still here. It's still, and he keeps threatening to take this, right? He keeps threatening to take this synthesizer. He's like, I need to take it back. I need it, and I need it, blah, blah, blah. And he never does. What else can I do except, like, you know, do that? Rather than let it gather dust, which unfortunately has been doing, as you can see in this, this picture I took of it when I first found it.
now that you've got a bit of a taste of what the Yamaha SY22 can do, let's move on to some creativity. Now, most of you will know my track Lemon from my latest album, Lemon. Now, if you think you don't know it, you do already. And that is because it's the intro track. It's my own track that I created on the Amiga. And what I've done in recent past couple of weeks is actually recreate it on the Polyend tracker, right? That means I can connect it to, like, you know, the MIDI, just like I did with mirrors, right? So let's have a little bit of fun, shall we? So this is going to be fun setting this up because I'm going to have to set the MIDI channels up separately, as in like to a bank of them. I've listed down the voice names and the numbers for the ones which I want to do. Right, so first press edit and then multi here. Now then, these two stupid freaking buttons are tough, right? So you can do MIDI channel, receive. Right, so you can change the cursor to that. So I want to assign each of these to the MIDI channel, so that's 2. And for each one, right, we've assigned channel to each of these, right? Now then, let's go to, for each of them, right, so for each of these now, just take the cursor there. For each of these, to change the thingy, so I'll look at my list. It's P65, the first one, so oops, I mean to do that, P65. Right, so channel 2 is 12 string, so P53, and yes, I think you get the message now what I'm gonna have to do. 53, 12 strings, so then you go to C, and wood bass, which is P55. So VCO sync is going to be the next one. That's 7. And VCO sync is P74. So what you do here is you change the ooh, it's kind of nice the way the Polyend tracker does that. So you can kind of like put any why is bell bar not working? So look at the yeah, bell was there before, so why is that not? So that's channel 4, right? Okay, let's see what's going on here. Why is that MIDI channel receive 5? Okay, that's probably why it wasn't working. Well, that is why it wasn't working. So you need to set which of the, it's like a bank here, right? So you need to make sure the bank receives the right MIDI channel, right? So that's fine. Let's take it. Actually, should be fine now. Assign it once again to 4. There we go. Right, what I'm going to do is, I've shown you exactly how I do this. I'm going to set all this up and, as in like set the MIDI channels on the right instruments and everything. And then I'll give you a little preview, all right? So see you in a second. Right, so I've gone through the track and I've assigned, you know, the right instrument values to the corresponding MIDI channels and everything. So yeah, now we start the track and enjoy. And I need to connect these to your ears, by the way. So now, just to add a little bit of spice to an already nice meal, I wish to add the computer with one of my favorite sound chips. And that is the Commodore 64. I just want this the SID to sound just as I like it, because I want to construct, I want the lead instrument to be the SID. So each time I want to adjust the parameter, I can just, so basically this is going into the Polyend and also going out into the Messiah. So that's how that's working. So I want to get rid of the portamento, which is, well, at least reduce it, because it's like there is a bit of a bend, like a pitch bend happening. So if I can find a portamento here, it's not the easiest thing to read. Thing is to control it with the joystick, because I don't have any variable resistors or potentiometers here. If I had, I can like assign them and connect them in the Commodore 64 to assign to these different controls, which I will do at some certain point, but not right now. And not this one, I've got like a spare case I can do it with. I don't want to mess my original one up. Right, so I've got this sounding the way I want it after messing around with this for like an hour. It really is not the most ideal way to do it, using a freaking a joystick and keys. But I've managed to do it. I managed to get a sound that I like to use only for the lead instruments. So just going to be a single MIDI channel, right? And the rest of it, the rest of the MIDI channels I'm going to use for this, and of course the Polyend tracker samples as well. So it's going to be like a hybrid of the Polyend tracker samples, the SID, which is going to be the lead, and or some parts of the lead, and of course, you know, the Yamaha SY22. So let me show you what I've just done. So I've got the MIDI out going into the Commodore 64, right, into the Messiah cartridge, and I've set the parameters for the SID and, you know, the ASDR and all that synthesis. So I've done all that, but how you change it in the Polyend, right? So that's just a normal sample. So that's the lead, right? Let's mute everything else and isolate that channel. Right, well, what I've just done there is highlight the entire thing, and then MIDI channel 9, and that's the actual SID. The actual SID is singing there. Now let's unmute all of them, and you can, when you play it, you can hear it along with everything else. Because I've mixed all the output, the audio outputs, into the mixing console and the sound console, and I'm excited to do all this. Now I'm talking MIDI wise here. MIDI out coming from the Polyend tracker, going into the MIDI in on here. Now what I do instead, not MIDI out, but I get MIDI through, which is a bypass essentially. So you're bypassing the same signal going to MIDI through, and that is going into the Commodore 64 via the Messiah cartridge. And I'm using mono synthesizer, which, as far as I can see, it can only accept one channel, which is channel 9. Now the MIDI channel 1 to 8 is taken up from here, and MIDI channel 9 will be the SID. So I need to go through this track again on whichever parts that I want to be SID. Yeah, played by the SID. I'm gonna have to do that. So, see you in a minute. Thanks so much for your likes, your shares. Do leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to check out my other videos and do subscribe for more. Also, I do more than create videos, so for more content, don't forget to check out my website as it contains all what I do. I update my blog fairly regularly, by the way. I'm very happy with how I've designed my website and wish to thank Rich Garbett for all the hard work and effort he's put into making it all work. Also, a big thank you goes to my top tier patrons: Rich Garbett, Axel Dominator, Electronskip UK, Aaron Metcalf, Corey Ostman, Starglider77, Mark Bosak, Starlight Minako, Chris Sebelinsky, and Veronica Explains. No matter what the Patreon tier, each of you who choose to support me genuinely out of the goodness of your heart deserves appreciation. Hence, the least I can do to show my thanks is list your names in my video, regardless of tier. Thank you again to all of you who genuinely support me. I'm really touched by it. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Until next time, adios!